Good Friday morning. See how a government shutdown could affect you.
See how using your phone before bed might not be as bad as you think.
And see which pop star is getting their own Christmas special. Get the coffee ready and open up those eyes. You're waking up with Cardinal Weather.
From Ball State Unified Media, you're waking up with Cardinal Weather, live from the Ball State Weather Center.
Good Friday morning to you. You're waking up with Cardinal Weather. I'm Emma Matlock.
And I'm Ethan Kelso.
On Wednesday, it was revealed that the House postponed a bill to avoid a partial government shutdown. But what is the government shutdown, and will it affect us here at home? According to CNN, Speaker Mike Johnson has not yet revealed what steps will be taken to prevent a government shutdown.
So Congress has to pass 12 appropriations bills, and they come out of the different subcommittees of the budget, and so Congress has to do that. The president has to sign them into law.
If Congress cannot pass the appropriations, the government cannot function. While a government shutdown might sound intimidating, the wording is a bit vague. The government does not completely shut down. Some parts may close temporarily, or they might just slow operations.
Some of them are pretty short. Some of them there have been a couple. I think 2019, the first one that happened in 95, 96, they were pretty long. So it depends.
But with that being said, what could this mean for the Muncie area if the situation worsens?
You think about like a place like Muncie, we've got a lot of students here. Student loans, pump a lot of money in here. We have a fairly indigent population in Muncie, so a lot of those federal benefits, if they are slowed down, or people who are applying for them, can't get enrolled in those programs, it can hurt towns like Muncie.
Some of those federally funded places in Muncie include WIC, SNAP, Veteran Affairs, and even the Delaware County Airport. But viewers must always remember that a government shutdown does not guarantee that those funds are suspended. Now, it depends purely on the situation of the shutdown.
Vice President Kamala Harris is expected to meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in Washington, D.C. next week. This, according to three sources familiar with the planning, the meeting comes and concerns over how the American election results could change U.S. policy towards Ukraine as it seeks additional resources in its war with Russia. Former President Trump has said he will probably meet with Zelensky when he travels to the U.S. next week. The two spoke on the phone in July, but they haven't had any in-person interaction since Trump left the White House.
Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina and Republican gubernatorial candidate Mark Robinson is under scrutiny after an article was published by CNN yesterday. That article claimed that Robinson had a large presence on pornography websites. Now, according to CNN, Robinson frequently commented extreme expletives on a pornographic website between 2008 and 2012. Robinson listed his full name on his profile for the website, as well as an email address he used on numerous websites across the internet for decades. The lieutenant governor posted a video on X before the article was published, telling viewers that the contents of the article, quote, are not the words of Mark Robinson.
We absolutely do. This is not us. These are not our words, and this is not anything that is characteristic of me, nor has it ever been. The people here of North Carolina know I have been completely transparent about my history, all the warts. We put them all out. We let folks know about it. But the folks here also know my character. They know who I am. They know my voice, so to speak. This is not my voice. This is not things that we would ever say or even think.
Robinson has been under fire for his comments before. He repeatedly attacked Martin Luther King Jr. and even declared himself a, quote, black Nazi. Now, coming to the studio this morning, it was a little bit on the colder side, but I heard it's going to unfortunately get a little bit warmer.
I totally agree with you, Emma.
Now, Aaliyah, what you got for us?
Yes, the temperatures are going to significantly increase as we go throughout the day. Right now in Muncie, 59 degrees, Indianapolis, 64 degrees, Lafayette, 62 degrees, and 59 degrees down in Bloomington. But as the day goes on, those temperatures will increase significantly. You can see this out the door forecast. 74 degrees at 10 a.m., warming up to 91 degrees by 4 p.m., and then slightly cooling off to 89 degrees at 6 p.m. So although those temperatures are crucially hot, we could possibly see some temperatures cooling down. And I'll have more about that in my future forecast, so stay tuned for that, because this is what we are tracking. We are tracking sunny skies, a pretty sunny weekend overall. We are also tracking not a lot of rain, but lots of rain systems moving through, and those temperatures cooling down into the mid-70s as we move throughout the week.
Coming up, see how using your phone before bed might not be as bad as you think.
That's after weather now.
The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends zero screen time in the hour before kids go to bed to ensure that they sleep well. But a new study has found that screen time before bed might not be as bad as previously thought. However, there is a caveat. A study published earlier this month in the Journal of Pediatrics found there was no interference with sleep in kids using devices in the 2 hours before bed, but letting them stay on their phones once they're under the covers did find a negative effect. The researchers studied a group of children from 11 to 14 years old in New Zealand. The study's lead author says once kids are in bed, screens and sleep start vying for the same slice of time, and that's where a negative impact on their sleep creeps in. How they use the same device also mattered. Study authors said devices in interactive ways like gaming was worse for sleep than using them for passive activities like watching movies. The director of a nonprofit promoting digital wellness says one of the study's limitations is it only focused on young teens. Using devices after bed could affect older teens and younger children differently.
The moon will soon be gaining a temporary friend. According to a new study, a tiny asteroid will begin to orbit Earth, starting September 29th. It will essentially act as a mini-moon. Researchers discovered that celestial object last month during routine monitoring. It's been given the name 2024 PT5. However, it will only be around until November 25th before it returns to an asteroid belt revolving around the sun. Unfortunately, you won't be able to see it with the naked eye. Experts say that the only way it can be viewed is with the telescopes used by professional astronomers. The revelation was published in Research Notes of the American Astronomical Society, which is non-peer-reviewed.
A group of very good boys and girls are the newest graduates from the New York Police Department on Thursday. 21 Labradors and German short-haired pointers are now set to work within the NYPD's counterterrorism operations. The dogs completed several weeks of training that has them ready to detect explosives and check out suspicious devices. They can also be deployed to a scene for their human handlers. At least 10 are named after officers who died from illnesses tied to the September 11th attacks on the World Trade Center.
Now, I can't wait excited for the national weather, but let's hear it from Olivia.
Yeah, so we are trending above average temperatures for this time of year across the nation. Although we do have a cold front system out in the west, we are still trending above average across the entire nation. 78 degrees down in Texas, Oklahoma, and in the Midwest, 59 degrees to start off the day. But then we're going to be jumping up 100 degrees for Dallas-Fort Worth, and they will experience a heat index of 107. 90 degrees for the Midwest area, and then out in the west, we can see some cooler temperatures near Seattle, but overall, we are trending above normal for this time of year. Looking at the current watches and warnings, we can see in Montana, there is a wind advisory. With this system coming through, we are experiencing some quicker winds coming through, and in Colorado, or in Wyoming, sorry, there is a fire risk along with this wind with low humidity and warmer temperatures. And then in Oklahoma, there is another heat advisory just across the nation, a lot of warm temperatures. But out in Colorado, in the mountain regions, there is a chance for some more snowfall in that area. And then for Florida, the coastal regions, they are experiencing some flooding right now. And looking at the current radar, we can see mostly clear for now until we go into this weekend. We can see some systems popping up in the lower Great Plains regions, and then those will kind of fire off for our area going into the weekend. Some more moderate to severe showers in some areas, which we definitely do need, but it unfortunately won't be enough to alleviate us from our drought conditions that are covering the nation. We can see closer on Sunday afternoon. That's when these cells really are going to start firing up and bring us some more rainfall and hopefully some cooler temperatures. And a lot of this system is due to the Omega block, which is a meteorology term for this low pressure system here and then this one here. And we're kind of sandwiched in between both of those and creating these warm, stagnant temperatures for our area. Hopefully we will get to see some fall-like temperatures soon, but for now it's remaining quite summer-like.
Yeah, honestly, I'm like pretty excited for these fall temps because it's been so hot lately.
It's been so hot, and Sunday is the first day of fall, so
Really?
yeah, hopefully we do get some fall-like temperatures soon, but the next couple of days are supposed to be around the 90s, so hopefully we'll cool down soon.
I know, right? But I mean, I'm already drinking my pumpkin spice lattes, so
Yeah, it just has to be iced.
honestly though. And coming up, see which pop star is getting their own Christmas special.
That's after your weather now.
Welcome back. The time is 8:14 and you're taking a live look outside the Cooper Science Building. Now this December, streaming giant Netflix is releasing a holiday special featuring singer Sabrina Carpenter. It's called A Nonsense Christmas with Sabrina Carpenter. The variety music special will include tunes from the singer's EP Fruitcake, as well as covers of holiday classics. It will also feature special appearances, including comedic guests and surprise cameos. This comes on the heels of Carpenter earning her first #1 album and single over the summer A Nonsense Christmas with Sabrina Carpenter streams on Netflix on December 6th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
One of the world's most famous seafood restaurants was able to claw out of its financial problems. Red Lobster out of its Chapter 11 bankruptcy, according to a statement from CEO Damala Adamokhan. He said the Florida-based chain is now, quote, stronger, more resilient, and ready for a bright new chapter. Adamokhan also added the restricting process includes more than $60 million in funding. Red Lobster, which made its debut in 1968, has 505 locations in the U.S. and Canada, employs roughly 30,000 workers.
Yeah, honestly, those pumpkin spice lattes have really had to be iced lately, but honestly, I'm not complaining.
Neither am I. I'm also excited for the fall weather because the last couple of weeks it's been really hot, so I just cannot wait for the fall weather.
And Aaliyah, what's going on with weather?
Yeah, so we are experiencing those extremely hot temperatures still, but lucky for you, they will be dissipating and cooling off within the next couple weeks. Let's take a look at some of our current temperatures. 59 degrees in Muncie, 64 in Indianapolis, 62 in Lafayette, and 59 down in Bloomington. Let's take a deeper dive into our viewing cities. 59 in Farmland, 59 in Anderson, and 60 degrees up in Portland. So our viewing cities are pretty much the same, upper to low 60 degrees, low 60s. Today we are expecting it to get extremely hot. High is 92 degrees. By 9 a.m. it will be 68 degrees and sunny, 86 degrees by noon, and then warming up to 91 degrees by 5 p.m. So those extremely hot temperatures are going to stick with us for the next 12 hours. You can see those rapid increase to 12 p.m. and then it stays pretty steady with that 90-degree temperatures until about 7 p.m. when it's still in the upper 80s for this evening. It will cool off to 64 degrees, 30% chance of rain, and a mostly cloudy night, which is trapping that heat in for a hot day tomorrow as well. Winds are nothing to worry about. They're coming from the southwest at 5 miles per hour. Let's take a look at these temperatures and what to expect for the weekend. You can see those temperatures cool off and then warm right back up. This is tomorrow at 8 o'clock at night. It is 80 degrees in Muncie still. However, Sunday it will cool off. The temperatures will drop about 10 degrees for the high. You can take a look, 68 degrees at 7 p.m. On Sunday. So the temperatures are dropping, and you can expect highs in the 70s next week. This drought monitor, we are still experiencing a drought, and although we are expecting rain, it is not enough to alleviate the drought that we are experiencing right now. We are in the dry to moderate, but if you take a look over here, they are in the extreme still. So mostly all of the U.S. is experiencing this drought and is in crucial need of the rain. So you can see this rain is moving in. This is Saturday at 1 a.m., so tonight. You can see the rain system. This is what the 30% chance of rain is just a small system that is going to come in and come right out. And then Sunday, more rain pops up, and this is where we'll experience a little bit heavier rain Sunday going into Monday. You can see this yellow area is heavier rain and possible thunderstorms for Sunday afternoon and into Monday. But then after that, the rain should clear out and only a 20% chance of rain for the rest of the week. So it's possible, and hopefully we get it, but it might not happen. Hot on Friday and Saturday, and then as we move throughout the weekend and into next week, those temperatures are cooling off. So you might be able to change your coffee to hot instead of iced coming here soon.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that rain, especially like when it comes to studying and the ambiance of it all.
Yeah, definitely.
I also agree. I cannot wait for fall. Fall is one of my favorite seasons, it's just because all the leaves are falling from the trees and just really nice to get out and just, again, great time to be out, except for the hot weather. Just can't deal with it anymore.
Yeah.
Coming up, see what we think are the best fantasy football picks.
It's after your weather now.
Welcome back to Waking Up with Cardinal Weather. I'm Jackson White with sports. After going 2 for 3 in my buys and sells, 2 for 3 in my buys and 2 for 3 in my sells, I'm attempting to go perfect on my Week 3 fantasy football buys and sells. Let's get right into it with my first buy of this Week 3, and that would be Josh Jacobs for the Green Bay Packers. In Week 1, he had 12 points. In Week 2, he had 13 points. On the season, he has 48 attempts for 223 yards, but the big thing is no touchdowns for Jacobs, and that was one thing you need in fantasy football. So I would say buy Josh Jacobs because he's a very good running back, and I think he has top 5 potential, and I think touchdowns will be something that he will be very good at getting once the season gets going, so I would go out and get Josh Jacobs. My first sell will be New Orleans Saints receiver Rashid Shaheed. In Week 1, he had 16 points. In Week 2, he had 20 points. On the season, 7 receptions, 169 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But the big thing with him is his 2 touchdowns both came on big plays. And, only 7 receptions in 2 games is not receiver 1 to me. But if you could go out and trade for a guy like in a possible duo of a Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, someone of that value for Shaheed, that would be big as well. And obviously Chris Olave is on that team too, and he had 12.8 points in Week 2. So I believe the Saints are going to start to balance it out a little bit more. But to go now with my second buy, I would go with Dalton Kincaid, the Buffalo Bills tight end. In Week 1, he had 2 points. Week 2, he had 7 points. But on the season, only 5 receptions for 44 yards. And, for your number 1 tight end, you don't really want to see that. But Dalton Kincaid is a good tight end. He still leads the Bills in routes run for that tight end position. And also, he's just a really good player. And Kincaid himself, even though he struggled, that Bills offense is good. And so I would watch out for Kincaid as a buy. And then my second sell will be Kyren Williams, the Los Angeles Rams running back. On the season, in Week 1 he had 14 points. In Week 2 he had 15 points. And he has 2 touchdowns, 30 attempts for 75 yards. Williams was a really good player last year in fantasy, but the Rams this season look to have taken a step back. Both the receivers are hurt, and Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, so the Rams offense will be more tailored around Williams, and defenses will know that, so I would say sell Kyren Williams. Then my last buy of Week 3 will be running back J.K. Dobbins for the Los Angeles Chargers. In Week 1, he had 22.9 points. In Week 2, he had 20 points. On the season, 27 attempts, 266 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Dobbins. And, one thing about the Chargers is they like to run the ball. They like to play that Michigan offense. And, that Michigan offense so far in the first 2 weeks has been working. Go out and get yourself a J.K. Dobbins. And finally, I would say my final sell would be Malik Neighbors, the New York Giants receiver. Week 1, he had 11 points. Week 2, he had 28.7 points, which is extremely impressive. 15 receptions, 193 yards, and 1 touchdown on the season for Neighbors. But the big thing is he plays the Browns and Cowboys in these next 2 weeks. And also, he plays for the New York Giants. And the Giants have Daniel Jones at quarterback. And whenever Daniel Jones is your quarterback, you can't trust that fantasy receiver. So even though Malik Neighbors will be the receiver 1 for the Giants, I don't believe that he is a receiver 1 on your fantasy team. So if you can get that value, I would definitely say go out and get it. But finally, I'll end up with that. Pick up any Panthers defense because, once again, any team playing the Panthers, they're really bad. But coming up, we've got your breaking down the science, but that's after your weather now.
People are celebrating one of the world's favorite foods today. September 20th is Pepperoni Pizza Day. According to the National Day calendar, pepperoni is the most popular type of pizza ever created. And a YouGov study finds pepperoni pizza is America's favorite pizza topping. As far as history, it's believed that pepperoni pizza was invented 1889 to honor the Queen of Italy, Margherita of Savoy, to celebrate. You can make it a pizza night with family or friends, maybe go out to a pizzeria or make it at home. And if you share your festivities on social media, make sure to remember to use the hashtag #PepperoniPizzaDay when posting.
It's peanut butter jelly time. The newest M&M flavor is a spin on the classic sandwich combo. The candies featured berry-flavored chocolate with a peanut butter center. This is the company's first new flavor innovation since 2022. The sweet and salty combo is set to hit shelves in December. It will be sold in stores nationwide and online.
Now, I know that we were talking about a drought, but what is a drought? Megan, what you got on breaking down the science for us?
Hello, I'm Megan Thompson, and welcome to Breaking Down the Science. Today's topic is drought. So as you probably all know by now, almost all of Indiana is currently in a drought. Actually, I think all of Indiana is in a drought, or at least some kind of dry conditions. So how does drought form, you're probably thinking? Drought usually forms when we have extended periods of high pressure. When high pressure is when we have air converging aloft in the atmosphere. And when this air converges, it all sinks back down to the surface and then diverges at the surface. And when we have this divergence at the surface, all the sinking air doesn't allow any moist air to rise back up into the atmosphere, which leads to clear skies. So we're not going to have any clouds, no precipitation. So and when we have all these clear skies, no clouds, we could have sunlight uninhibitedly coming down to the ground, having warm temperatures and heating everything up. And when we have warmer temperatures, we're going to have higher rates of evapotranspiration. Evapotranspiration is when we have moisture being evaporated back up into the atmosphere from plants and the ground. So when we have all this moisture going back up into the atmosphere and leaving the trees and ground, we can see the ground getting very dry and vegetation drying out, like we can see outside currently. And when we have all this dryness and high temperatures, it oftentimes leads to drought. And we can categorize drought on a scale of 0 to 4. So D0 is abnormally dry conditions, which is what half of Indiana is currently under. Then we have D1 moderate drought. D2 is severe drought, D3 is extreme drought, and D4 is exceptional drought. And when we have exceptional drought, we're going to have about 2 inches or less than normal rainfall. And so when we have these extended periods without rain, we're going to categorize these into 2 separate categories of drought. We have short-term drought, which is drought that lasts less than 6 months. And when we have short-term drought, it usually doesn't have much of an impact on the environment long-term speaking. We're going to just have dry conditions like we can see now. We are probably going to be in a short-term drought here. I can't imagine this lasting longer than 6 months. And when we have long-term drought, that is drought that lasts longer than 6 months. And this kind of drought can last over a year or even decades. And when we have long-term drought, it can have severe environmental impacts. It's going to completely upend the environmental cycle and hydrological cycles. We're going to see more groundwater having to be drawn up from the ground and taking water from reservoirs. And so, in conclusion, how does drought form? We're going to have a bunch of air coming down and diverging, which causes clear skies. Clear skies means no rain. No rain means hard ground, dry plants. And no rain means drought. And currently here in Delaware County, we are in a moderate drought. So we have seen about less than half an inch of rain more than normal for this time of year. So I'm Megan Thompson, breaking down the science, bringing it back to you.
Let's take a look at that weather one more time. So the next 7 days, pretty hot today and tomorrow, and then like I said in my full weather forecast, the temperatures will start to drop into the mid-70s. And you can see some rain and pop-up storms happening throughout the weekend and the beginning of next week. 70% chance of rain and possible thunderstorms on Monday and Tuesday. And then those temperatures are holding steady in the mid-70s. The lows will decrease into the mid-50s as we move throughout next week, but not enough rain to alleviate that drought that we are experiencing.
Yeah, honestly, I would say I'm pretty excited for that fall weather, like I've been saying this whole time, and I know that it's supposed to get cooler, and I'm really looking forward to that.
I'm also saying the exact same thing you're saying, Emma.
That's all for Cardinal Weather this Friday morning. Thank you for joining us.
We'll see you next week. Have a great rest of your Friday and a fantastic weekend.